Hi, Krishna, dear viewers. Welcome back for part two of the Bond of Love series, an interview series organized by the Vaishnavi Ministry of North America. And we have with us our dear Gopimata Prabhu. Thank you so much again. And we had so much nectar that we push it to a part two. Maybe we can start with what was one of your, it's super hard, but what was one of your favorite qualities of Srila Prabhupada?
All right. So, yeah, I was thinking about how respectful Srila Prabhupada was to all kinds of living entities. There's a story that Shruti Kirti tells his servant that when he was in India and Srila Prabhupada was taking prasad, a lot of ants would come and go right onto his plate. And Srila Prabhupada didn't disturb them. Actually, the ants would wait at the edge until he finished one preparation, and then the ants devoured whatever was left. And then he would go to the next preparation, finish that, and then the ants went to that one. And like that, they were respecting each other. The ants didn't bother until after he had taken. And then, at the end of the meal, his servant would try to gather up whatever was left to give to the devotees who also were touching this maha maha. I guess the ants left at that point. I hope so. And in 1976, Prabhupada was arriving at the New York temple. And as he, walked down the aisle to greet the devotees, there was one very young boy who innocently bowed down kind of close to the center of the aisle. And so a devotee who was next to him just gently nudged him back out of the way. Srila Prabhupada saw this. And so when he arrived at the place where this little boy was, he touched him on the head and he smiled at him very affectionately because he didn't want his feelings to be hurt. And so I thought that was so sweet. So, Yamuna described how also there was a time that they were dressing the deities behind the curtains on the altar. And Srila Prabhupada displayed the quality of chivalry. One of the pujaris accidentally knocked the supporting pillar with his elbow and began to fall onto these beautiful big deities of Radha and Krishna. And so Prabhupada, without a moment's hesitation, cleared the lower shelf of the altar, stepped on with one foot, put his other foot on the next step, grabbed with his right hand to stop the pillar, which was like 8 inches in diameter, and with his left hand took Srimati Radharani's hand and set everything right. So she said it was incredible that he had such strength because it was not a small thing. It was a heavy pillar, and he managed the whole thing instantaneously. And then she said also, to watch him offer arti was a very special thing because he had such absolute perfect timing and artistry. When he was offering the conch shell with water, he would just nonchalantly send a perfect stream of water to a distant receptacle without even looking. And so his movements were very elegant and aristocratic. And because he was always fully conscious of Krishna in everything at every time. So, sometimes we try to get a little experience of that, maybe when we're washing the deity's paraphernalia or we're trying to do something remembering Krishna. But that is really the art of living. It's like living in the moment. in Bhakti is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, Prabhu. So beautiful. I just wanted to add, what age, right, did he show the chivalry? He must have been like 75, 76 years old at that time to master that balance. And it just goes back to the first thing you mentioned. He's a transcendental statesman. So thank you.
yeah, ageless. So, and then I could tell about, things that I would like people to know.
Yes,
About.
please.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
mm, everyone should know how Prabhupada sacrificed everything
Mm.
to bring humanity. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he asked his disciples, he said, you should be willing to shed buckets of blood to
Mm.
save the people of this world. And Srila Prabhupada really took that on. Um, for the purpose of saving the world from its doomed state, he would undergo any difficulty, um, and he traveled around the world 12 times in 10 years at an elderly age. Like, I'm 70 now. I'm just starting to realize what that means. He knew he was not his body. And so he wanted to gather an army of angels to assist him, assist his spiritual master. And he did this with practically zero assistance from his godbrother, from anyone else. At that time, he wrote over 60 volumes of sacred texts, hardly getting any sleep at all. And he did this with complete pridelessness, converting all honor to his own teacher. So he was completely dependent on Krishna for the results of his endeavors. Once, when he had recently arrived in America, he sat on a park bench with a gentleman that he hadn't met before, and the fellow said, "What are you doing here in America?" And so this is when he first arrived. Nothing had happened yet, but he said, "Oh, I've established 108 temples all around the world, and I have hundreds, and we are preaching Krishna consciousness boldly." And so somehow or other, this man met the devotees years later and said, "What? You know, I heard this from him before any of it happened." He was so confident that Krishna wanted this to happen that he had absolutely no doubt. And so it all became a reality. And he had a friend that he spoke to before he left, OBL Kapoor, who's written many nice books. And the man asked him, "How will you do this impossible mission?" And Srila Prabhupada said, "When I return, I'll tell you what the secret of my success is." And then when he returned, he said, "Yes, this is the secret. Chinadapi sanichena tarorapi sahishna amanena manadena kirtanya sadahi." That one should chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, more ready to offer all respect to others without expecting any respect for oneself. So this was one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's 8 direct teachings. And Srila Prabhupada perfectly executed this. There's so many beautiful stories how he offered, respect to the lowest, simplest, effort at service. And there was a story about a kind of crazed hippie in San Francisco called Rabbit, who dressed in clown clothes and had like tufts of hair on the sides of his head, and he would just bring in, toilet rolls and all kinds of weird offerings, and Srila Prabhupada was very gracious. And and then to talk about how he protected the Vaishnavis.
Yeah. Thank you. I was just thinking you'd share one pastime of, what people need to know about Srila Prabhupada. You shared 5, so that goes to show how merciful his daughters are too. And that'll be wonderful if you can share how you felt Srila Prabhupada protected. You mentioned like he was equal to everybody, but especially his daughters. How did you feel he was chivalrous and protected them?
Yeah, so very, very, novel ways that he found to engage everyone. Prabhupada explained how we could all apply the principles of Krishna consciousness in ways that are accessible to us individually. And in so many ways, he adjusted the practical application of this philosophy to accommodate the women. So he explained that the previous acharyas wrote from a man's point of view more, because that was the culture at the time. Only men were educated and could hear philosophy, and they were speaking from the men's point of view. But Prabhupada didn't speak just from a man's point of view or for men only. He saw all practitioners as intelligent and worthy of being given all facility and all opportunity for service, no matter what kind of body they were in. There was no material impediment, he said, to our possibilities for spiritual advancement. And he personally asked the Lord to help all those who took shelter of him, because it's a spiritual relationship. It's not based on anything besides reciprocation of our desires. And and then I wanted to say something about the importance of the next generation of devotees having a personal relationship.
Yeah, we have not had the fortune of meeting him per se physically, but thanks to him and to all of you for distributing his books. He's there in the form of his books. For those of you who have had like a personal relationship with him, I've seen him, felt him, how do you think it's important for the next generation to continue, develop a personal relationship with him?
So there's a danger that his importance could be diminished when we see that everything's already up and running, so many people handling things, seems to be going on. Maybe it existed forever, but it didn't. He is the one who brought it to us. Without him, we wouldn't have the books, we wouldn't have our mentors, our gurus, our association, we wouldn't have Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada will save the world at its darkest hour. He has given the law books for humanity for thousands of years to come. So he's a very powerful spiritual guide, and he's completely capable of knowing our hearts. We may think that we are weak, but he is strong enough and wants very much to help us. So we just need to establish our relationship and fulfill our side of the bargain. That is, we should state to him clearly that we have a serious and sincere desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. Or at least we can pray that, please let me have the desire to desire what you desire. And that is the secret of spiritual success. Not what I can do, but aligning my desire with the pure devotees. Then all treasures are coming. All spiritual treasures will come. And
so beautiful. Heard how Maharaj has said, like, if you cry for Krishna, if you can't cry for Gaur Govinda Maharaj, has said, cry for Krishna. If you can't cry for Krishna, cry that you can cry for Krishna. And if you can't cry, then you cry that you can't cry for Krishna. And same way how you said, right? Like, don't have your own agenda, but just pray to him that whatever you desire, my desire matches your desire. So beautiful. And then, and that's what all our gurus also expect when we take that oath of initiation, right? You promise them that you could help serve them, Srila Prabhupada.
so it's a kind of anxiety. It's his anxiety. And so, the more we practice Krishna consciousness, it's actually, we're in anxiety. How are these people going to be helped? I'm not doing anything. How can we assist? So it's that anxiety that actually is giving a drop of satisfaction to the Guru Parampara.
Thank you so much for your time and for sharing such beautiful pastimes. And you're an amazing orator. Like, you took us through this beautiful movie. I could see everything happening, like how you got onto the scene, like every single thing. And met Prabhupada and are here today to inspire all of us. So thank you so much for taking your time, for sharing your story. And maybe this is a good inspiration for all your sisters also to come here on this beautiful platform and share their realizations and get us closer to Srila Prabhupada by sharing some of the nectars that they have personally experienced. Once again, from the ISKCON Vaishnavi North American Ministry, thank you so much.
And thank you, Rukmini Priya, for organizing this, and thank you for all of your wonderful assistance and questions, and thank you all the devotees who organized the Bond of Love book, beautiful book, and the Vaishnavi ministry. All glories to your service.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.